impact on individuals, institutions, and public discourse, as pointed out in the privileged speech of Representative Robert A. Swarbers, and as you pointed out, Mr. Chair, in your opening statement. The media industry globally is also grappling with this information because with this information and even targeted attacks, Mr. Chair, which are amplified on social media and via algorithms or troll farms. This affects public trust in news organizations and makes the digital space not ideal or safe venue for public discourse. We have seen in the US how Elon Musk, for example, is using his platform to disparage the professional media, of course, along with the US president. And in the Philippines, we've seen how the media was targeted during the previous administration. But we also take important note about the committee's commitment to upholding press freedom, as Congressman Barbers has repeatedly said during this hearing, that this is not about suppressing freedom. And we take note of this commitment in the House resolution to uphold our press freedoms. And we humbly submit, Your Honor, that any regulation or amendments to our laws must not be used to infringe on our fundamental freedoms, to stifle dissent necessary in a healthy democracy, or to foster a climate of fear. And we know, we're conscious that the committee is conscious about the thin line between regulation and suppression of press, freedom of expression and of the press. However, we do recognize, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, that we have enough laws that need better enforcement, but also there's a need to update some of our laws because of the emergence of newer technologies like AI or deepfakes that can be used to produce harmful content. And we believe also, we share in the, I think the consensus here is we see a need for more gatekeeping and better accountability from big technology companies, Google, Meta, TikTok, because those are the platforms that are used by a majority of Filipinos. And because the spread of disinformation and propaganda can endanger not just individuals but national security, as for example in the West Philippine Sea issue, and undermine our democracy, for example, during elections. In ending, Mr. Chair, ultimately we believe in promoting better public awareness and education as the more effective weapon to counter disinformation and cybercrimes. And we thank the committees for consulting the different sectors to address this problem. Many people remain unaware of cybercrime risks and their rights under the laws, and the government must conduct cybersecurity awareness campaigns and promote digital literacy in schools to create a more responsible future generations of Filipinos. Of course, the private sector and especially professional media organizations were also doing our part. For example, in the Inquirer, aside from countering disinformation, Your Honor, and trying to report the truth as much as we can, we also have long-running programs like Read Along and Inkskwela with our public school students to develop their love for reading and also to develop their critical thinking abilities. And we'll do our share, Mr. Chair, for whatever expertise that we might be able to contribute to the outcome of this committee. Thank you very much.
Marami pong salamat, ma'am. There's a new blogger who would want to say something. Mr. Mark Louis Gamboa.
No. Hello po, Mr. Chair.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you po for once again inviting me. I'm Mark Gamboa, businessman, political blogger, and also senatorial candidate. Gusto ko lang din pong sabihin kasi po dito po pangalawang hearing na po natin ito ng fake news at maganda po itong ginagawa natin. Maganda po ma-define po natin mismo ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng fake news eh. Kasi po yung simple na criticism minsan ay sinasabi na po na fake news. Kailan ba nauso itong term na fake news? Kailan ba siya sumipa? I believe it was 2015, 2016 eh. Nung panahon na naging presidente si Duterte and also Trump. Si President Trump, pag sa Amerika po, lahat ng balita na hindi pabor sa kanya, ang tawag na niya fake news. Diba? Sa akin po, hindi po ganun eh. Maganda maihiwalay po natin kung ano yung criticism na pwedeng gawin ng kahit sino, protected by free speech, and yung mga statements na libelous talaga at nakakasira talaga. Gusto ko pong i-cite din yung example after nung unang hearing po natin ng TRICOM. The following day, nagkaroon ng impeachment. Merong isang lumabas na page pretending to be Congressman na Lord Dansuan. The working congressman yung pangalan ng page. Tapos naglabas siya ng statement kung saan parang pinapalabas na para yung pirma doon sa impeachment, merong kapalit na ganitong proyekto o kung anuman. So, ito po ay sinabi na ni Attorney Suan na fake news after some time. Pero ang problema po, kumalat na po yung post na yon, umabot sa 100,000 reacts. Ang dami nang nakakita, ang dami nang naniwala na merong ganong klaseng issue o may ganong klaseng pangyayari. By the time na nakasagot na si Congressman Suan, sinabi niya fake news yan, that page is fake. Sobrang dami na po nakakita. Milyon na po yung nakakita. At yung kanyang explanation ay dahil maliit lang yung kanyang page, ay konti lang yung nakakita. I think yun po yung isang example ng fake news na talagang delikado at kailangan tutukan po natin eh. Yun po mga simpleng kritisismo, yung mga simpleng yan po ay kasama sa ating freedom of speech. Kaya po I would once again want to reiterate yung pong aking panawagan para sa isang 24/7 na fake news monitoring office. Kasi sa ngayon po, wala kang pwedeng sumbungan kung may makita kang tingin mo ay fake news eh. Maganda po sana merong opisina under sa isang sa DICT o sa Office of the President o kung saan man na pwede pong tignan. Pag meron pong lumabas, may nag-viral na post na ganon, pwede niyang tawagan kaagad yung congressman involved o tapos ipopost po kaagad. Pwede pong makita ng publiko na fake news pala yung nakita ko. Kasi sa ngayon po talagang talagang wala pong pwedeng pagsumbungan, walang pwedeng mag-clarify, walang page na nagka-clarify pag meron pong mga nagba-viral na mga fake news po na ganyan. Kaya hopefully po ay yun po yung mga isang paraan para po ma-minimize. Kaya po matapang yung pong mga nagkakalat ng fake news sa ngayon kasi po wala pong nagbabantay sa kanila. Masyadong matrabaho naman po kapag magsasampa pa ng kaso sa NBI o sa kapulisan, sa cybercrime. Minsan po hindi na po umaabot sa ganun eh at masyado pong matrabaho para po sa ordinaryong citizen para mag-file pa sila ng mga kasong ganun. Pero kung meron pong ahensya o merong opisina na tinitignan, ito, fake news to. Sino bang gumawa nito? Sino bang gumawa ng page na to? Kung paulit-ulit na gumagawa sila ng mga page na puro mga kasinungalingan yung nilalabas, tsaka po ipapasa na sa proper authorities o sa cybercrime para po magawa ng action o masampahan po ng kaso. So, thank you very much po.
Thank you. And we will have for the last blogger, Commodore Tariela.
Blogger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not a blogger though. I'm the spokesperson of the Philippine Coast Guard when it comes to the West Philippine Sea. To the esteemed chairpersons and the distinguished members of this tri-committee, my co-workers in the government, and my fellow countrymen, isang magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. I was honestly pleased to learn about the House of Representatives' decision to hold a public hearing addressing fake news, disinformation, and misinformation on social media. I believe this presents an opportunity for us to finally establish legislation that holds trolls, influencers, and